What's up, guys? The wait is over. I've decided to finally introduce makeup tutorials to you guys. You guys have been asking so much, and from the looks of this, I guess you can tell that I am doing an eyebrow tutorial. So this is what my natural eyebrows look like. I'm going to be doing my left eyebrow, which is to you guys the right. So the first thing I do is I brush it out. Of course, you're going to make sure it's clean and all that great stuff. I like to go in and clean it up maybe once or twice a week. Normally I'll do it once, but twice, like if I have something to do midweek or something like that, and I'm, they're just growing a little bit too much. And normally I'll take this razor that I usually get from the beauty supply store, and I'll go in and just clean it up. I had one stray hair that kind of was getting on my nerves, so I got that as well. My Holy Grail Dip Brow Pomade is the one from Anastasia. I use the color Ebony. I've tried like 2 or 3 different other shades, and this is my best one. I also use the corresponding eyebrow brush. I believe this is the number 7. I'll have it linked down below. But you guys can kind of see close up. I just like a nice angled brow brush that's pretty stiff. I kind of get a nice amount on the brush, and I start the process of applying at the lowest point of my brow. I never start in the very front. I start like right there, like where it pretty much dips the lowest. I distribute the product going backwards, and then I kind of drag it going forward as well, but I never ever start in the front. And then once I feel the product is kind of, thinning out, I'll go ahead and re-dip my brush into the pomade. I'll definitely re-dip my brush as much as I need. Normally I'll also have like a paper towel on hand so that if I put too much, I can go ahead and, wipe it off, if and when needed. So now I have a pretty thick amount of product at the base. I like a sharp, base to my brow. And so I will just pull and drag that product upward into the brow. That way I don't have to re-dip my brush into the pomade. I pretty much already have enough product to go ahead and saturate the hairs, but I don't like to just rub it in. I like to do hair-like strokes, going like with the brush horizontally up, and then also you see here I pulled the product up from the base. Now here I'm showing you specifically what to do whenever you make a mistake. I make mistakes often, and I just always have a makeup wipe handy. I wipe it as best I can without interfering with the part of the brow that I want to keep, and that's it. So once I've done the base of the brow, and then I've pulled enough product into the brow to make it a little bit darker, I go ahead and finish off the tail as best I can. Now I have, I guess, like thick skin, loose skin, saggy skin. I'm not sure what you would call it, but as you can see, my tail is never like perfectly rounded straight. It has a funky angle to it, and no matter how I do it, it always comes out like that. Sometimes I'll try to go in and fill it out to make it a little bit more rounded to get rid of that angle, and then I end up with a super thick brow. So this is pretty much my brow and what I normally will get. I go ahead and I take the product on the top and do a nice defined line at the very top as well, and then from here I just play with it until I find the correct amount of, not density, but just how thick I want it, how natural I want it. And you can see here I dispersed a little bit too much product in the very front and made like a big black line. That is a no-no. I never ever want to distribute a lot of product in the very front. So I'm not gonna panic. I'm just gonna continue as I've been doing, and then when I get a chance I'll go in and feather that out. So you guys can see when I brush the brows up, you can see like what product is actually there. And I just take and just tease or stipple the front. Now these are my Holy Grail favorites. These are the Studio Finish concealers from MAC. I have NW50, which is a shade darker than my skin. I have NW45, which has always been my Holy Grail shade, but as you can see it's a little bit lighter. And here I have NW43, which is actually my perfect shade. And then of course I have NW40, which is like my highlight color, a shade lighter. Now here's NW43 on the left, NW45 on the right. Clearly the NW43 is darker. It is a newer shade, not newer as in like it just came out, but it came out with a new line, and it seems to be my perfect shade. But to highlight my brow, I'm going to go ahead and use that NW40. So sometimes whenever you finish your brow, you'll kind of notice the hairs that you didn't pluck or tweeze before. This is the lowest point of my brow, and I kind of find that sometimes when this area right here that I'm tweezing gets a little bit too full, I'll bring my brow too low down. So I just went ahead and cleaned that up because those little hairs do get problematic at times. Now I'm going to distribute my NW40 concealer. I kind of like to apply the product not at the very base of the brow, just because I don't have a steady hand. I'm definitely that girl that will make a ton of mess. I'm not that like artistic and all of that. So this for me sometimes is a struggle. All I do is I distribute the product a nice way below the brow, kind of bring it up as much as I can without making too much of a mess, and then I kind of just sort of press it in little by little as I go across. Now on a normal day, I probably will skip this step. I'm comfortable with the way the brow looks without the concealer, and even if I do add the concealer, I'll just add like a powder highlight instead. But I kind of want to give you guys the full effect. Like if I really have somewhere to go or something to do, this is the brow that I would do. Now I always have a pencil, like a pencil eyebrow brush on hand. Or what am I talking about? An eyebrow pencil is what this is called. And this is the one from NYX. I have about 4 or 5, maybe even 6 different pencils, and this is my favorite. I'll have it linked down below. And I kind of just use that to redefine the lower part of my brow that I messed up. Now, I never use a highlighter color on the top of my brow because I more so want to clean it up, but I don't want to highlight the top. This is also an optional step that you don't necessarily need, but if you definitely want the full coverage Instagram brow, this is definitely a step that you would not want to skip on. Now, I used minimal product, especially when it came to my concealers. Whenever I see these types of tutorials, people use like so much. As far as using the Studio Finish concealer, I definitely find it's a thicker, heavier concealer, and I definitely don't need to disperse a whole lot, but you can definitely put enough to cover your entire eyelid. That way you'll go ahead and be prepped and primed for eyeshadow. I'm not using eyeshadow today. I'm just going to take a blending brush and kind of blend out all of that so that, you know, even though it's highlighted a little bit, it looks, you know, a little bit more natural and blended out. So this is the original brow shape that I have, and this is my full defined Instagram brow that I love so much. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. I'll have everything I use linked in the description bar. Tutorials, makeup tutorials are coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Next up will be my everyday foundation natural makeup tutorial that I do most days. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.